Tokyo, a city of 37 million people, clean streets, neon lights, a place the world calls safe. But safety is sometimes just an illusion. And in the spring of 2007, a 22-year-old girl from England discovered that truth in the worst possible way. Her name was Lindsay Hawker, born in Coventry, England, December the 30th, 1984. She was not just another young woman. She was brilliant, a biology graduate from the University of Leeds, kind, adventurous, the kind of person who lit up every room she walked into. She had plans, big ones, a master's degree, a career, a future. But first, she wanted to see the world. In October 2006, Lindsay boarded a plane to Tokyo, Japan. She had taken a job teaching English at Nova, one of Japan's largest language schools. She shared an apartment with 2 other foreign teachers in Chiba. She was living her dream. She had no idea that she had less than 6 months to live. March the 25th, 2007, a Sunday. Ordinary in every way. Lindsay finished her classes and headed to Chiba Station to collect her bicycle, as she did every single day. She crouched down to unlock it. And then, a man appeared. He said he was one of her students. Lindsay didn't recognize him, but she smiled, because that was Lindsay. She was kind, even to strangers. The man's name was Tatsuya Ichihashi, 28 years old. No criminal record, no obvious warning signs. But as Lindsay began cycling home, he didn't leave. He ran, alongside her, asking questions. Where are you from? How old are you? Why did you come to Japan? He followed her, all the way to her front door. Most people would have been alarmed. Lindsay was just polite. She agreed to give him an English lesson the next morning, in a coffee shop, public, safe, or so she thought. That was March the 26th. The last morning Lindsay Hawker was ever seen alive. When Lindsay didn't come home that evening, her housemates knew something was wrong. Police traced her last known location to Tatsuya Ichihashi's apartment in Ichikawa City. They knocked on the door. What they found inside, no officer could have prepared for. On the balcony sat a bathtub, filled with soil and sand. Buried inside it was Lindsay's body, naked, bound, strangled. Her hair had been completely shaved off. Ichihashi had mixed a decomposition agent into the sand. He had scattered flower seeds across the top. He had tried to turn her grave into a flower bed. The only sign that a human being lay beneath that sand was her right hand, hanging over the edge of the tub. As police stood in stunned silence, a neighbor spotted Tatsuya Ichihashi at the building's entrance and watched him run, barefoot, into the night. Japan erupted. Wanted posters of Ichihashi covered the country. His face was broadcast on national television multiple times a day. Police offered a reward of 10 million yen. And still, he was nowhere. Days turned to weeks. Weeks turned to months. Months turned to years. Back in England, Lindsay's family were living through their own nightmare. Her father, Bill, flew to Japan, stood before cameras clutching his daughter's photograph, wearing a t-shirt printed with the face of the man who killed her, refusing to let the world forget. 2.5 years passed. 2.5 years of nothing. November the 10th, 2009. At a ferry terminal in Osaka, a man was waiting for a boat to Okinawa. Something about him caught an officer's eye. It was Ichihashi, but he barely looked like himself anymore. During his years on the run, he had undergone horrific cosmetic surgeries. changing his nose, his lips. He had even attempted to surgically alter his own fingerprints. He had carved himself a new identity from his own flesh. But it wasn't enough. Tatsuya Ichihashi was in handcuffs. In court, Ichihashi confessed. He admitted to raping Lindsay Hawker. He admitted to suffocating her, pressing down to stop her from screaming. But he claimed he never meant to kill her. The Hawker family sat in that courtroom and listened to a man describe their daughter's final moments as an accident. On July the 21st, 2011, Tatsuya Ichihashi was sentenced to life in prison. The family had begged for the death penalty. Japanese law said no. A single murder was not enough. His appeal in 2012 was rejected. He remains behind bars to this day. But even then, the cruelty continued. From inside his prison cell, Ichihashi wrote a book. He titled it Until the Arrest. He described his years as a fugitive in detail, the surgeries, the hiding. He confessed to Lindsay's murder on its pages. The book sold over 100,000 copies. He offered the royalties to Lindsay's family. They refused. Lindsay Hawker was 22 years old. She had a degree. She had dreams. She had a whole life waiting for her. She went to the other side of the world to teach, to give, to grow. And she never came home. This is not just a crime story. It is a reminder that monsters do not always look like monsters. Sometimes they smile. Lindsay Hawker, December the 30th, 1984 to March the 26th, 2007. Gone, but never forgotten.